Have you ever spent hours hiring crews, buying equipment, winning more jobs, only to find out you're still exhausted by 70-hour work weeks, wondering why your company isn't growing the way that it should be? Well, after helping 10 plus contractors scale up to 5 million and doubling their profits, I figured out the main issue that's stopping contractors' growth. They all either don't have systems or have written documents that no one is following. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to actually build efficient systems that grow your company and reduce your workload. Now, when you hear systems, you probably think of some apps, maybe some software, SOPs, but that's not actually what a system is. These can be parts of your system, but a real system is essentially a machine that either grows your profit or frees your time. Every efficient system is made up of 5 essential components. The first component to get into place for systems is the knowledge succession. So you have a process, you have a system, you have the knowledge of how to run your business. It's either in you or your different employees within the company. Everybody, the knowledge is out there, but how do we standardize it? How do we make sure everyone's following the same playbook? And this often looks like an SOP. This is a kind of the first step. The big problem with just creating, a bunch of SOPs or having random stuff is chaos, essentially, which is probably what you've experienced in the past. So the way to do this is you need to break your operations of your business, all the different functions, into specific areas. So you're going to have estimating, scheduling, onboarding, fulfillment. There's all these different components of the business, but group it into the large ones. And the first step is just to get things down on paper. You can even just record yourself and talk through what you do to get the big steps in place. This is the overall big process. Create a quick SOP. And you want to just keep it really simple. Then you want to involve the other team members. So if you have an admin person that, handles phone calls or files paperwork for whatever it may be, ask them, what is your process for this? How do you do this? Can you please write it out so you don't have to, as a business owner, do all of this systemizing yourself? Take all your notes and your knowledge and put them into nice systems. Now, this can get overwhelming because obviously there's a lot that goes into running a business, but this is sort of the first step of that knowledge succession of how do we get the right knowledge in front of the right people, and we have like a standard of what we want people to know and how they want to handle it. The other component of the knowledge succession is decision making. So it's nice to have, this is how you do this, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But what happens when the problem comes up? Well, they're going to call you, right? And that's the fires that come up every day for you. So you need as well in your SOPs or a separate document that outlines decisions. So who makes what decisions? When does it need to get escalated? Take charge. I've had this come up so many times, especially with like early admin people who don't want to make a mistake, or they want to do everything by the book, or they want to wait until they meet with you. And that's no way to run a business. You need to enable leaders inside your business, and everybody is a leader. Even doesn't matter the guy cleaning up materials or the admin person filing some paperwork. Tell them, you make the decision on this. I expect this of you. And if it's wrong, I understand mistakes happen and we will correct it after the fact. If it's super critical, like it's going to cost you thousands of dollars or it's going to make a client upset, then definitely they need to escalate it to like a senior manager or yourself. And then to make sure that your team is getting refreshed on the content and that they're getting trained on it. So everybody, again, is on the same page. Everyone's following the same process. And the SOP isn't there to make a bunch of robots in your company. It's there to train people efficiently and properly and take the guesswork out of them. Like, well, I'm supposed to file these papers, but I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm just going to make it up, right? That's not what you want an employee to be doing. First of all, it gives them a bad impression. Second of all, they're probably going to do something that you are not going to want them to do. Now, the second component in getting systems up and running in your company is the constraint bottleneck. And this is where it's like, which systems do we start with, or how do we do this? Or maybe you started on a whole bunch and you're trying to build systems left, right, and center. So what we want to look at is what's limiting your business. There's always a limiter to business. Is leads a limit? Is sales? Maybe it's getting estimates out the door, the pre-construction. A lot of people are falling off, or it's yourself as the business owner needing to get out of the way and get your people involved. From here, you need to pinpoint specifically which system is going to give you the best return on investment and which one is holding your business back. Often they're the same, but there's going to be different things, and then decide what specifically are we going to improve. And then you need to be able to measure to make sure that it's being effective, that it's actually having the outcomes that you want, and you want to fix that biggest bottleneck. So you're going to have bottlenecks within bottlenecks, essentially. So estimating may be your bottleneck, but there's going to be 5 to 10 different smaller components inside estimating that you're going to need to fix. So which one do you start with? And that's how you chunk it down. That's how you stay streamlined and focused. I know when you start building systems, it feels a little bit overwhelming, but these are non-negotiable for your growth. You need systems in your business, which is why we build all the essential systems for construction companies. And that's how we help them scale. So if you also need our help, click the first link in the description to apply to get our help. Third component that we're going to be looking at for building out systems in your business is data collection. So we need to be looking at what is the actual effects, and not just the effects on you, but on your team. So you want to be collecting data. As you mentioned in the previous step, you need to set what kind of things are we measuring, or what are the outcomes that we're looking to achieve, and decide on one key metric. So are we looking to improve profits? Maybe the lead to sale. So how long it takes from a new lead to go to a sale or a pre-construction agreement. How much time are you on or off of the schedule? This, first and foremost, obviously, it helps you track what's going on, but it gives your team that sense of accomplishment and that objective of this is what we're going for and looking for. And then you're going to make adjustments to the system. So did it have the desired outcomes? Did you reach your targets? Are you above or below? How can we adjust? And through these observations, the data is going to help you make better decisions. And it's also going to help you recognize what's possible with the next systems that you put into place. And you have this continuous feedback loop now of like, we had a starting point, we reached an objective, and we can see if things are starting to slip or if they're going up. The data also helps you catch issues and problems before they become, giant problems. So if things are, going up or down or didn't make a change, then you need to be able to look at it objectively and identify what is the actual problem here, what are the weaknesses in the system that we need to improve, and getting feedback consistently. Component number 4, doing things the way they've always been done is not how growth happens. You want to be looking at every single step and going through creating a workflow. So the way that I like to continuously optimize my systems, the best point to do that is when you have a new employee, because a new employee is going to be fresh to the company. They're not going to be trained. So this is a great opportunity to walk through the system with them. And if something's not clicking, they're making mistakes, or they're confused, or there's parts missing, hey, we need to update this. We need to improve it. How can we better ensure that the next person that comes through is even more on the ball and the system is really working at a super high level? A good question to ask that I love to ask about systems too is, if I was going to do this 1,000 times, is this how I would want it done? So often you'll figure out like, well, no, if I had to do an estimate, like 1,000 estimates like this, I wouldn't want to be doing takeoffs from scratch, or I wouldn't want to have to call my suppliers every time. How can you make sure that this is the most optimized system? That's a great question. And another good one is, how can I make this twice as good? So twice as fast, twice as few steps. How can I remove steps possibly? It'll be rare that you'll actually double the effectiveness of a process. It does happen, but at least that'll get your mind thinking in a way that it's not small tweaks. Those are helpful, but how can we really massively improve what we're doing as a whole in the system? Now, certain steps that really don't add value to an operating procedure or a system is any of the nitty-gritty technical aspects, especially for things like software. Your team should be relying on your software's training to know about the technical aspects of the training. And there's a whole bunch of additional components that kind of go into these smaller components, but essentially you should have knowledge bases or additional links inside your SOPs so that you are not recreating the wheel here, essentially. If someone needs training on a software, there's tons of videos online. The software should have maybe support or whatever. You just need the big steps and the specifics of how you want it done inside your company. Now, if you want to actually destroy any inefficiencies inside a system, create a checklist. Checklist for how to optimize the system, checklist for how to create your SOPs. Checklists are the bee's knees of systems, because They're clear, they're concise, and they're specific. And every person can follow a checklist. It's just the simplest way to do things. So there should be just a really nice concise checklist for all of the major components of your systems. And you can also tie it to like a to-do list for every project or every new lead to ensure that steps are not forgotten. Now, component number 5 is how do we actually get your team to follow the process? A lot of systems will just say, do step 1, do step 2, do step 3, but that often fails because people forget, they resist following systems, or they try to do little shortcuts that's going to save them time, or they have their own ideas of how they think things should get done. So they'll give you some base checks as far as, yep, sounds good, I know what I'm doing, and then they'll go off and do their own thing. So you really need to set up a proper culture and a reward system so that employees have buy-in and that they are motivated to intrinsically follow systems and steps and do things the right way. The first way to do this is to get their buy-in. So when you're creating a new system, if anybody's going to be operating it, get their input. That way they know it's not just you or somebody else in the company handing them a system and here, go follow this, but ask for their feedback, ask if they understand it, and always explain the reason why you want it done this way and what it's going to give them. So providing more, bonuses or opportunities for growth within inside the company. Could be more team outings. You could also gamify it with, levels. So I always like to have certain training levels when you have someone new come into the business of like, in the first 3 months, this is like where we expect you to be trained and how efficient we want you to be or whatever, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. So they can see right when they get started in employment, hey, if I follow these systems, I do a good job, I stay with the company, there is, a path and a plan for growth, for improvement, for learning. Money is important, obviously, but it's much more motivating when employees actually want to improve themselves. And when you start to build people through training and having good systems in your business, then that's kind of like where the magic starts to happen. You're also going to need a little bit of patience with people. When people miss steps, that there should be some checks and balances, right? And you need to be able to communicate this with your team of managers and other top kind of level employees of the business, that people are going to make mistakes. They're not going to follow the procedures and operations, perfectly, but that when you do see something out of place, enable them to have a way to communicate that to the employee of, what, you didn't quite do this, or you forgot this, or this wasn't done properly. You don't want it to be like in a nagging way or like got you, or, you're a failure because you do everything wrong. Always have that culture of like, everyone's providing feedback. We're trying to do our best. If it's tiny, then not a big deal. But if you let things slide and let things go too long, things dissipate and you have everybody running their own show, everybody doing their own thing, and there's no adherence to the structure of your business. Another great way is slowly give them more decision and more autonomy. And you can let employees know that, hey, once you've learned this and you can do this at a high level, the reason we have these operating procedures is specifically because this is what we found to work the best. This is so everyone's on the same page. Once I feel like you've got this, I'm going to not need to check up on you as much. And that also enables me to start adding, more responsibilities and have you make like more decisions on your own and be more autonomous. So letting them know that they're going to get to a point in their job where they're not going to have necessarily a lot of oversight. They'll always have support that they need, but there's not going to be this constant oversight that's needed, can give them motivation enough, because most people do not want to feel like, they're in jail or have to serve their time when they show up to work, right? Show them the actual data of, what's happening with the processes that you're implementing. So if you can show your production team like, hey guys, great job. These last 2 projects, we've been, on schedule, or we decreased, our schedule overage by 5% or whatever it may be. Show them, tell them, celebrate it, bring them out. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but show some appreciation tied to specific achievable numbers. Now you understand how to build systems in your construction company, but you still don't know how to protect your margins, which systems you should build, and the correct way of scaling a construction company. So watch this free course next, where I cover all of these, and I've made it way more valuable than many of the paid courses on the internet. I will see you in the next video.